faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
Hello everybody, let's get started. I have no financial interests, I have no sponsored links. That guy on my hand was lost on our lawn, and interestingly he mounted my hand and I could carry him or it to a safer place. Hi everyone. I want to talk a little bit in English today about Flare, what I've been talking the other day in German already. What you most likely everyone knows is the cut off or the snapshot day will be the 12th December, and my last part of today's presentation, I am trying to give you an idea how you could increase your futures barcoding, because on the 12th of December the snapshot will be taken, and what you have in your wallet then you will receive on 6 months later, which would be around 12th of June next year. So you have like 6 months time to actually set up your wallet with this Ethereum address, as Wind basically explained it. The video may be lacking at times, but I hope you should be able to hear me all the time. If not, please yell at me, okay? Okay, there was many people were discussing about the Sum app, which eventually will help you get this transaction done on your wallet, that you have the Ethereum address on your XRP-L account. And while some have created another account on XRP-L, I think just for that one transaction it's perfectly safe to import whatever you have, be it on Ledger, on Elipal, on Cool Wallet or whatever other hardware wallet. Import those 24 or how many seed words you have into the sum map, set the same account up there, do the transaction, and then if you feel unsecure, delete the sum app again. The only difference in security between the sum app and any of the hardware wallets, with the sum app, soon as someone has access to your smartphone, he will be able to send coins away from your sum app. That's the difference, the only difference if you hold the private key on a hardware device like me, Cool Wallet. Just for that one transaction, I think you should be pretty safe, and as long as no one steals your smartphone, you should be safe anyway. So much about that. The process is actually described pretty well by Wind on Coil. I followed the instructions. You need to set up an ETH address, but basically everything is explained. It should be pretty straightforward. Now, some words regarding FlareNetwork and smart contract platforms as such. Those of you who know me longer should know that I'm totally not into smart contracts platform as such, and the reason is when I first kind of learned about blockchain technology as such and what different kind of project types there are, I also stumbled about those smart contract platforms, and honestly I couldn't see how a enterprise could trust such a platform. The main idea of DLT is to get rid of the middleman. On Ethereum, if I and Leone have a smart contract about $10 million and the programmer fucks up with the smart contract logic, who's to blame? Maybe we don't even know the programmer. So there is always this problem of trust. And while we need to have trust for the programmer or on those smart contracts platform which offer oracle information for those oracles, is basically something we want to get rid of. This trust comes in FlareNetworks and solves that issue. And the reason is the Spark token. The Spark token will be the collateral for the amount of, for the value of the smart the smart contract is actually handling, right? So if the smart contract is handling $10 million, then there needs to be collateral, in the examples 2.5 times 10 million, which makes it $25 million in collateral with the Spark token. And as such, even if something goes wrong with the smart contract, there's always the collateral. Okay, so basically you're kind of like on the safe side, because you cannot lose money if if something goes wrong with the smart contract or the counterparty doesn't want to pay you FXRP or whatever other coin in the future, then there is always this collateral where you will receive money from. And that's the actual nice thing about Flare networks, which is the reason why I totally believe that on Flare network we eventually might actually see enterprise grade smart contracts, because it's trustless via that collateral done by Spark. That's very crucial to understand. Okay, so now let me show what I actually wanted to show. These figures here. In that table I tried to show a little bit possible scenarios for the future of that network. On one hand, it's important to understand that FXRP and XRP should more or less always have the same price. Why? If XRP has a higher value in dollar than FXRP, any FXRP holder will redeem his XRP and sell XRP to make an immediate profit. The other way around, if FXRP has a higher value than XRP, lots of XRP holders would move into FXRP and sell FXRP in order to make that instant profit. This arbitrage process will keep those prices hopefully quite well in sync. About the price of Spark, we actually do not know a lot. I'm assuming it may be around 10% of the price of XRP, but it could also be just 1%. That we really don't know. What I want to try to show you in that table is how that price of the Spark token could evolve and how much profit you may be able to make in the longer term. In the longer term, for the reason, because I'm pretty sure it will take, I don't know, a year or two, starting next June, like 6 months after the 12th of December, until those smart contracts start flocking in, and then it might take quite some time until the FXRP market cap will reach a certain level. However, if we compare ETH and FXRP market cap, I don't think that currently Ethereum has $50 billion values in smart contracts. I would be very surprised if it's more than 10 or like 10% of that. Most likely it'll be even less, due to the reasons I talked before, because you cannot really trust, and that's the whole point of smart contracts, getting rid of the middleman. In my table I have 3 scenarios: the blue, the green and the red. and then something to play around. Can you still hear me? There is little comments. I'm not sure if you're still with me. Can you give me a thumbs up? Well, on my side it's almost time to go sleep. Okay, here you just fine. Thanks, CKJ Salesman. Okay, so the first scenario, I started at the billion market cap, the second at 5 billion, and the third at 10 billion of market cap of FXRP, which basically means, or hopefully means, that really that amount of value is handled in smart contracts. XRP, we always have the same amount. Spark, we always have the same amount. FXRP initially, because it has the same price as we talked about before, there would be like 3.5 billion FXRP minted. Those, by the way, go away from the circulating supply from XRP itself, because those agents will need to make sure that they always have the XRP ready, which they minted for some guy like me. Because when I want to go out of FXRP back into XRP, they will need to pay me. If they cannot redeem my XRP, they will lose collateral, and that's something they don't want to risk, because it'll be always a financial disaster, so to speak, for them. The price here in each table is, I took rather one of the current prices, but basically that's your average price, your average XRP price. And then we can see how the profit will increase or not depending on what figure. So, first example, 1 billion market cap of FXRP. That would mean 3.5 billion coins minted at that price. That will mean that we need to have 2.5 billion in Spark collateral. At 45 billion possible Spark tokens, that would mean a minimum price of $0.056. That would give you already a 20% profit. Now if the price of XRP increases to $5 or $50, the price of FXRP would increase as well. We would still have the same amount of coins, but the market cap of FXRP would increase. In order to kind of maintain that ratio, the price of Spark would need to increase accordingly. For that reason, the profit ratio for you will always stay the same. I mean, if that was your average XRP price. In the second example, we have 5 billion XRP market cap. That would give us already like 100% profit, like doubling the value we have in XRP. If it's even more, 10 billion, then it's like you would have like double the amount of value in Spark than you have in XRP, basically. Now this last one here is to show that it all depends on the average XRP price, on the market cap FXRP will reach, and on how many Spark tokens will actually be available for collateral. So if like 50% of Spark token holders I won't loan my Sparks to anyone for collateral, that would basically hold on, that would zoom in. That would increase your profit quite a bit. On the other hand, the less market cap we have, the less profit. So from 200 million to 1 billion, you see your kind of profit would increase quite a lot. Okay, so that's for those figures. Now, why did I talk about that? I was talking to my wife and to Manuel, a Swiss follower of mine, about an idea I had. And that idea, you actually have to think about if that's something you may want to do. And I did a test today. I sent in the morning a SEPA payment to Binance in UK. I set it up at around 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think at noon the money was on Binance already. Now the idea is, what you could do is, you could take, but this is no advice, this is just something you may want to think about. You could, pending the value of XRP is still quite low on 10th of December, you could put kind of like your last reserves into XRP, such that on the snapshot day, on the 12th, your balance is way higher, and on the 13th you could sell those XRP, hopefully not with a loss, and kind of withdraw the money to have your reserves in dollar, pounds or euro or whatever other currency back. So that's basically something you may think about. Unfortunately, I have to pay taxes end of this month. That would be a nice figure. I would like to do that proposed kind of maneuver, sending it to an exchange, the money, buy XRP for 2-3 days, sell it again, receive the money back. That could be a scenario, but I mean, in the worst case, if on 12th and 13th XRP drops like 50%, which I honestly don't hope, but it could always happen, then you would have basically lost 50% of your reserves, which doesn't make sense. But anyway, I think it's something you may want to think about. So, and now that was basically what I wanted to go through, I guess. And now I'm all yours for questions, if there are any. Well, XRP mantra, that's just this 20% I showed would be the case if FXRP had 1 billion of market cap. But that may well take 2-3 years to achieve. So if you don't want to wait so long, I see basically the spark distribution as a little sweetie. I immediately don't expect, I mean, maximum 10% added value to my kind of portfolio, but that could happen with XRP any day. I mean, we know 3 years it didn't do that very often, rise 10% a day, but it's basically something which can happen anytime. Exactly 20k in, out. XRP mantra, 1/5 of Ethereum market cap would be 10,000 or 10 billion, and I mean, telling by the fact that right now I think FlareNetworks is, if I was an enterprise and I would need smart contracts, that would basically be literally the only smart contract platform I would trust. Any other, there is one other, but there I have my issues why they actually need blockchain, but it'll be R3. I mean, what they are doing there on their private Corda network, that could be kind of done in a centralized way too. I honestly don't, unless those participants run their own validators on Corda, on private Corda. But if just R3 runs those validators, then I literally don't see a reason why they shouldn't make the whole thing centralized. I really don't understand. Maybe I don't understand quite enough. But I mean, to give you an idea, for an ideal, or one example of a smart contract actually given by the guys from FlareNetworks is the hedging of oat price. Anna is growing oat and she wants to sell to Kellogg's so that they can make cereals, and Anna fears the price of oat goes down. So basically she wants to buy a put option such that she can sell her oats at a defined price. So even if the price drops, she can still sell at the higher defined price in the smart contract. Someone is willing to take that risk, someone who offers that put option. Now on the other hand, Kellogg's, who is actually interested in buying the oats from Anna, fears the price will go up, so Kellogg's buys a call option, which lets them buy oats at the defined price and not at an eventual higher price. In the case of Anna, if the price goes up, the put option is not important anymore, so she lost the price, like this kind of insurance price she put on the put option, but then she happily sells her oats for the higher live price. And for Kellogg's, it's the other way around. If the price drops, they're happy, they will not think a lot about the price they paid for the call option. They will have lost that money. On the other hand, they will be able to happily buy oats for a lower price. And don't get mistaken, all this is something I did a research upon when I was doing research about what liquidity means. And part of liquidity is usually people hedging risks. They hedge all sorts of risks. And don't you get this underestimated. Basically, each and every producer of a product which uses something grown in the nature, a fruit, oats, corn, wheat, whatever, beef. Beef may be a little bit different because there you can basically sell the beef at a different price. But all those, I made in my German live stream the example with tomatoes. Heinz ketchup, most of you guys know Heinz ketchup, I'm pretty sure. They wanna sell their tubes of ketchup year in, year out, more or less at the same price. In order to be able to do that, they need to hedge the price of tomatoes exactly in the way I talked about, such that they can guarantee that they will always make the same profit on a bottle of ketchup. And it's nice for you because you know all throughout the year, every time you go into a store, you pay about the same amount of dollars or whatever other fiat currency for a bottle of ketchup. Had Heinz not been hedging the price of tomatoes, that price of ketchup would always be a different price. So basically what those guys are doing, they're kind of providing us an average price, and that's done via this hedging, and this market is huge. That's trillions, literally. So what about privacy exposure of your XRP wallet with the linked ETH address? Are there any risks involved afterwards? As long as you don't tell anyone, Hakuna Matata, your XRP address, as long as that one is private, and as long as you never ever tell anyone your ETH address on FlareNetworks, then you're safe. As soon as you tell one or the other, the recipient of that address will know both your XRP you hold on that address and the appropriate amount of Spark and or FXRP on the Flare network. Whoever did this setup already on XRPL, go to BitHump Explorer, find your wallet, and the funny thing is, I actually got to know that guy as well, and I didn't know that it was him responsible for BitHump. I only learned that a few days ago, and he actually updated that visual representation of your XRP account, and the link to this ETH address is actually clickable. You click it and opens the Ethereum Explorer. I'm pretty sure he will need to change that in the future to point to kind of a Flare network explorer, because literally the only thing they share in common is the same, is the address kind of algorithm, but the networks as such are totally different. The only thing Flare networks will be using is the logic machine of ETH, meaning that any ETH smart contract developer will be able to continue to use his logic on Flare network. Exactly. So, are there any other questions around Flare or Spark? If not, then this will have been my shortest live stream in history, most probably with the fewest viewers as well. I see there are not too many questions anymore. I will move to the intro, to the little lizard I found in our garden. When 3 or 4 digits, that's a joke. Soon. What about voting power? Voting power, I didn't dig into that. I think it's related to how many sparks you have, but I'm not sure. I mean, anyway, over the years the spark could have some value, but don't expect it to moon like FXRP will moon. With that, I thank you for your trust, for your confidence, for your repeated show up in my live streams. I wish you a nice rest of the week. As always, leave me questions and comments on Twitter or on the video. Take care. Bye bye.